What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Hustling Sideways podcast. I'm Alan Halas. I'm a music writer.
I'm Jim Love, and I'm a keynote and motivational speaker, and I have had a high noon. So
yeah, I was going to say one high noon. It's
going crazy
out.
over here, man. Yeah. That's how we kick off one time.
That's how we've kicked it off. This is episode number 110 of the Hustling Sideways podcast. I cannot believe that we already hit 110. I actually felt like it took a really long time to get here from 100.
Yeah, I actually can believe that we hit 110 after 100 because it took 3 years to get to do after that. But a couple speed bumps along the way in terms of getting things scheduled, but here we are, and and I'm back in this room, and it's been a hot minute. It's actually probably been since 100, if I had to guess. Since
maybe it's been close too.
That may have been it.
So if you don't know, every 10 episodes we check in and we talk about the state of the podcast.
That's right.
And what, where we've been.
Yes. Alan has a speech prepared. It's go for it. Yeah. My fellow Americans.
Oh God, I forgot to write a speech.
Yeah. But it's great. We get to come together and reflect a little bit, talk about where we're going, talk about some funny things along the way, and otherwise enjoy each other's company.
I feel like we've had a really good run since 100.
For sure.
We've had a really busy year. So technically, with the way that we do these shows, we should have a check-in twice every year, basically.
Oh, that's kind of how it should work out that way.
Because there's 26 of episodes with a guest.
I see.
We don't consider those bonuses as episodes. I don't know. We're weird like that.
Yeah, you get it.
But so every 10 guests or so, we should have 2 of these a year, right? So really, this is kind of like a reflection on how our year has been going.
Yeah, hot damn.
And I'll say, honestly, personally, not to toot my own horn, but I feel like this has been professionally one of the best years I've ever had. So
toot away, man. Toot
away.
I
had a crazy run this summer of our beat battle went well.
Yeah.
That went to Summerfest. We did a show at the Rave for the first time. We did 2 of the biggest shows that I've done back to back, and then we did I did Riot Fest in Chicago. I got into the travel portion of my summer. The block party that we did in the 3rd Ward. So it was just one thing after another.
What felt different about this year versus others then for you? If
it felt one, I will say honestly, I felt more prepared.
Okay.
Which really has been the biggest thing. If you go back and listen to some earlier check-ins, I'm sure I'll tell you that last October I went through a whole process of preparing for 2026.
Yeah.
Or 2025, which I never did before.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I never really started thinking 3 months out.
Yeah.
And so this year, or this past fall, October of last year, I was in that mode of okay, I'm just going to punt on the rest of the year. I'm going to prepare to have as big of a year as possible.
And you did it.
And I did. And personnel wise, things have kind of changed around a little bit at Breaking and Entering, but I also, not that was holding me back, and if anything, it was helping me.
Yeah.
But just the preparedness of going through the cycle of knowing okay, I got to do the beat battle first. Summerfest happens every year. This year we were very fortunate to jump onto Hip Hop Week again with the city of Milwaukee. I was I knew kind of where these things were going to go. It really is a cycle. It's just being prepared for it was the thing.
Yeah.
And then it
huge.
felt those opportunities kept happening one after another because we didn't get Summerfest. We didn't know we were doing Summerfest until the day before Summerfest started.
Oh, that's
and we
how
were
long it
the
took?
second or third weekend because we're on we were on one of the side stages.
Yeah, okay.
And so they emailed the day before Summerfest started, and they were hey, we got an opening. Somebody canceled. If you want to pop in, and we were yes, we
want to pop in. Yeah.
And then right after that, Hip Hop Week happened, and they DM'd me, and they were hey, we want to do this thing in August. Do you want to come be a part of it? Sure, let's do it.
Yeah, I'll do that too. That's perfect.
And Lollapalooza was in there.
So it kind of feels as you prepared, more and more things fell into place.
Right.
Yeah, that's great.
It was in a position where just one thing after another happened, but then we were already ready. You know what I mean? Which we being me, Jeremy, the person that helps event coordinate, DJ our Topher, our DJ.
I love Topher.
DJ Topher.
DJ Topher. Good dude. Friend of the pod.
Friend of the pod. So we were ready. If these things happened, we were ready to slot ourselves into all of those things. So I think that was one thing that was huge. And then just figuring out how we can be a little more, how I can be a little more efficient on things is work and side hustle wise, and this podcast wise. we did a whole year worth of social clips, so I didn't have to think about like what was going out on social for us. Huge. I would just keep getting emails every day like, your video posted, and I was like, cool.
It's a good feeling.
That little bit of things were out of the way.
Yeah.
So like it just all made for like one thing after another of like a really good run of things that I was just, and like there was no stop in between.
Totally.
So maybe that was part of it too, was like it felt like the treadmill of like we're done with this one thing and this next thing has to happen in a week, so there's no time to take any break in between.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So I guess I just kept going until the wheels fell off.
Sometimes
and only like recently.
Right. I mean,
felt like we're good.
Yeah. When you get kind of like how we talked about getting in the zone, it's like you can't stop, won't stop, when you get into it and things are working. That's the biggest part, sometimes you can prepare and it doesn't go as well as you had thought, but when you prepare and it's successful, things do really start coming into place. So I'm with you. I mean, my year started off, pretty quick with finding out that we were going to have a baby toward the end of the year. So that was kind of a wild start and put things into perspective, pretty fast, which is great. But I definitely like the winter into spring semester had like a lot, like I gave a lot of talks, which was a lot of fun, traveled a little bit. It was funny. So at the end of last year, I know you remember this and some people here do, I kind of cut ties with a speaking company I was working with, and that was a weird one. Didn't expect that to happen the way it did. But got into 2025 with like sort of this like I'm gonna do it myself again. You know? And what's interesting is like the reason why I almost feel like I'm reflecting on the year, and it's late October, but here we are. It's almost fair. Over. Yeah, we're almost over. But the reason why I had to cut ties with that organization at the end of 2024 was because I had scheduling conflicts with my job. Yeah, and it had never happened in 10 years. And then when I went back to doing my own thing, it didn't happen again. So I was like, all right, God, like that's a good way to say that I should just keep doing my own thing. But that made it fun again, right? And I was able to kind of go in and represent myself and do it and continue building up, a network. And then, it's funny, man, because like now the last like month or two, like life changed so much that it's hard to even like fathom what like the spring was. But really what happened was we were trying to have a great time and like do as many things as possible before like, that having becomes a bit more complicated. So I took a few trips, and not to say we won't continue doing that, but like went to Arizona and like went to the Grand Canyon, like just stuff that I wasn't able to do, for a little while and got to do. And then like traveled a lot for work, which was a blast, and like had an awesome summer. Like, so I do the leadership seminar every summer, and it was like amazing this year, and the students were so cool. And then like had a ton of connections after that, but it kind of felt like each day I'd wake up, I'm getting closer to kind of like my life, being a lot different, and like what would that look like? So there was a lot of like overthinking going into September and October of what it would be. And then it happens, and then you just get used to your life changing a little bit, and I don't think, things will continue to change, but now we're 3 weeks in, and it's been going really well, and like able to get some sleep, and like that's great too.
Important.
But I would say my speaking life this year took a bit of a backseat because I just didn't have too much time to focus on it. But that's okay because I don't have to put myself out there that much anymore with having word of mouth and things like that. So people still reached out. It wasn't like that ever changed. Now, from this show wise, I would say, and Alan and I were just talking about this off camera, but back in April, we were able to, we do our 2 shows a year. Well, it used to be 4, but 2 shows a year at Marquette. And we hosted Jen Latta, who's a good friend of the show now and does college game days and Marquette alum, et cetera. Yeah. And that felt like the apex of our partnership at 707. Like there was standing room only at this, and there had to be 80 people there. It was awesome. And like you could feel it. Like we started that show up, and like people were so all in, like listening. I was nervous
as a host, and like I'll be honest, like it's not that I'd still definitely get nervous before I go on stage with you and do these things, but like I was very nervous to be like, okay, like if we screw up with somebody else, fine. If we screw up with like a national television personality,
not as fine.
Not as fine. Yeah. And like I mean, either like we love all the guests that we have and all the interviews that we do, but I was, for that particular one, I was like, there's a lot of people here. Like, you know what I mean? Yeah. Like,
and it's funny, like we just kind of rested on what we do well. It's like just go in there and make it happen. 5 minutes in is when I think everything started to
I was going to just say, once we were in it, that's when I was like, oh, we're just doing another episode like we know how to do.
That's it. And that was actually one of my biggest takeaways from Jen. I was like, how do you communicate with these people that are world famous as you're doing this stuff. She goes, they're all human. Like, that's it. Like everyone craps, you know, it's like that. Like if you think about it that way, then, you know, it's if they don't like you, that's their fault. So it was just like a very casual kind of natural thing. And it was a blast. I remember we finished that and we texted each other. We were like, that was a really freaking good night. Yeah. That was like a hell of a night. Got back home. I remember I had to like travel a day later to go to Texas, and I was like, this is awesome. And so that was really cool. And then when we finished that, we actually decided with the 707 Hub that instead of trying to do 4 shows this semester, we're just going to do 2 and have it be like, you know, bigger names. So all that said, if you're listening to this and you live in Wisconsin or Chicago and you want to come in, a good friend of ours named Travis Diener, who's a 2003 Marquette Final Four player and does a lot here, former NBA player, etc. He will be on the show November 6th, which is going to be great. So
it's going to be great. So come to the 707 Hub for that.
Come on by, and it's going to be a lot of fun. But that's been a really cool thing because it's one of those partnerships that, on a whim, you and I decided to just be like, we should email them. Right. Because this would work. Like, we're entrepreneurs. That's what they do in their hub. And they agreed. You know,
and they liked it, and they like what we're doing, and we love being able to come back.
It's the best.
It is the wildest thing to me still. Like, I probably have said this before, probably on another check-in. It is the wildest thing to me still that I am going back to my alma mater to speak, and people are showing up to watch.
To the thing that you're doing.
Not for me necessarily. Yeah. It's probably about the guest. But they're coming back, or to get some credit for school.
That's right.
But, you know, like, it's still a wild phenomenon to me to be like, oh yeah, you know, dipshit kid that was walking around the campus a few years ago.
Nothing's changed. Yeah.
You know, within 12 short years,
you're back. No,
we're back,
awesome.
And people are talking to us.
And you could feel like when the students really connect with one of the messages, or, you know, whatever. And this is how I feel when I speak, you know, just generally, like, it's really cool to connect with folks, and they're showing up because they're eager to learn more, you know. And then we get people who are alums that show up every now and then too. It's probably 80% students, or maybe even more than that. But
we've had faculty show up too, and ask questions and be interested.
Yeah, it's
and
awesome.
Like, they probably don't have to be there.
No,
you know, which is cool.
Yeah,
so.
And it's like 5:00 on a Thursday, so perfect timing to get everyone moving. I do remember when we did one, I think it was like in March. It was like an NCAA tournament, like opening weekend on Thursday. I was like, guys, we need to be careful with this. Like, if we're playing, or, you know, I remember that was the night where I'm like, I'm not sure how many people are going to show up to this, but hopefully it'll go well.
And after that, Jim and I went to Caffrey's, which.
We did.
Fun fact, I had never really been to Caffrey's until after I was an alum.
Oh, that's right. If you don't know what Caffrey's is,
it's one of the 2 Irish bars on Marquette's campus.
Or just
I think
bars
it's
generally.
The one now. I don't think, is Murphy's there?
Oh, Murphy's is open. Yeah.
Okay.
There's 2 bars on campus in total, which is a crime. Number one, to even say that sentence out loud. One of them is called Caffrey's, and Alan didn't go there very much.
I didn't really go there that much. While I was there.
Yeah.
But we went to watch the tournament after that. And that's when Jim told me that him and his wife were expecting.
That's right. And you were shocked. I remember that. That was great.
I was so stoked for you.
Yeah. No, it was a lot of fun. So it was, you know, as you can imagine, my year then went kind of wild, and you know, and here we are. But it was a ton of fun, and I'm excited to keep like this sort of like big ticket name type of thing, because we there's a lot of people in Milwaukee doing a lot of great stuff here, especially that are affiliated with, you know, that hub or the university, and really get some more messages out there, because I think students now more than ever, and I think humans generally, are really understanding why to have a side passion, and that it's good to do it. You don't even have to monetize it, like whatever it is, but to have something beyond just like either the corporate 9 to 5, you know, whatever it is,
besides
it's fun.
Live and work. I don't know about, I mean, like,
totally.
And I know there are more companies that are going back to like being in person, and that is the shift again. You work mostly remotely, right?
Mostly remote.
Same as I am. 99% remote.
Right?
Yeah. I think that, you know, it is very easy to get lost in that, and to be lost in the sense of like 9 to 5 is not a thing anymore. It's like you work. Like, I can have days where I'll get up early and I'll work on my side project, work for my normal job the rest of the day. And then, like, you know, you're like, oh, well, if I just knock this one thing out or this other thing out or whatever. And then you're like, I'm going to bed.
Yeah, I'm done.
You know, like that. What did I do all day? I worked all day.
Yeah.
But like, I think now, like you said, having that thing that is outside of your job
feels good.
If you're working remotely, definitely is like the like release of like, okay, I just need to focus on, you know, whether it's your side project, your side whatever. But it's like the world we live in now, which is still wild to think of.
It's so much more acceptable, which is great. And, it doesn't necessarily have to be the thing that you do or like I said, getting you a ton of money, but the fact that you're doing something that's really setting your soul on fire and you're having a good time with it and your heart's into it, like you should always pursue that. Like whatever that thing is, that should be the thing that you go after wholeheartedly.
And I do think that since we started this podcast, we also just had the revelation that in January it's going to be 5 years of us doing this thing.
We did, and that's coming up soon. Yeah, which is wild. And how it started. I mean, we were 5 years ago. We were in very different times in our life. We were just turned 30, right? It's like
I know.
Getting into a new decade, and then now you're going to be 35.
35 in December.
Yeah, that's old, dude.
Whatever.
You're way older than me.
What I was gonna say though is I think in the 5 years of us doing the show, the amount of people that we've were like, oh, we know a ton of people that have side hustles.
Yeah.
I feel like that's only grown because I think it's becoming more and more and more of a thing, especially now as everything gets expensive. People are like, well, I could do this or I could do that, or like more opportunities become available.
You could do something else
for a side thing. Yeah. Or more people want to push towards like having like supporting a local business or whatever, that they're like, there's that feeling is there that people want to go gravitate towards, like, good. Our buddy that makes like our buddy Omar that makes hot sauce or our buddy, whoever that is a plumber or whatever, like does their thing outside of their job.
Totally. I mean, I'm thinking about
we're gravitating that way.
And even like the past guests that we had, like Joe, who does, like connectors get paid, like the fact that if you have a network of people that it's a strong network, then you should get paid for recommending them to stuff.
Right.
That's like the premise, of it. Like that's like such a cool topic, and one that I think a lot of people are going to catch on to. Of like, you should refer each other because your friends are awesome, but also you deserve to get money for that. Like that's really what it comes down to. And it's been fun, like showcasing some of that, and then people that are like, wow, that was a lot of fun. I'm like, yeah, you should. This is what you should be doing. You should be doing a lot more of it.
Okay, so let's talk about future podcast episodes are definitely coming up. We're not going to be as reliant on some of those Marquette shows because we have less of them.
Yes.
So that was also, I think, a thing too that maybe made it feel so long too, as we did those Marquette shows in between.
They started adding up for sure.
We're on the pod match. We're doing that. We're finding people that way. We have
Tinder for pods, and it's fantastic.
I found a second one for us too. That's like another kind of same
like
thing.
Bumble for pods, so they want to be basically like more of like a serious relationship.
It's called Talks.
Talks.
Yeah.
Like just straight up
talks. Yeah.
Interesting.
And it's the same kind of concept of like you can find a guest, and not that we don't have like a couple hundred people in our Tinder for pods.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
So we have matches waiting. Well, we're doing pretty well in terms of that. One thing we did launch though is within these last 10 episodes is on our Instagram. You can go to the form in our story and you can fill it out. So we've got some guests coming up from that.
Totally.
That's going to be exciting.
Yeah. And inevitably what happens a lot is when Alan and I are out somewhere or whatever it may be, we meet someone and then they tell us about, the thing that they do. We're like, wow, would you like to talk about that? And most people want to. They're like, I'd love to. And then some people are like, are you serious? Like, you really have a show? And then we'll like text them the next day of like, we'd love to have you on.
Real, yeah.
Like I've had this happen with bartenders and people working on my car.
We had the one lady that's a bartender, but she was also an equestrian rider.
Emma. Yeah. That was awesome. And like, we found that out. We were at the dinner, and she was just telling me about what she does. I'm like, you should talk about this with us. And she came over and talked about it. So it's fun. Like I love when that kind of stuff happens because like I want to get to know people, and then you're like, wait a minute, you have a thing that you're really passionate about. You want to come talk about that live?
For sure.
So it's excellent.
Yeah, I think like there's that, and then the number of times that we probably have texted each other in the morning and been hey, I met this person. When are you available?
All the time. Yeah, we need to have like a shared like Gmail calendar where I could just go in and see where Alan's openings are.
I should give you access to the hustling side of his Gmail.
That'll be it. Because at the amount of time, like literally most of our texts are you free Monday, Wednesday, and Thursday of like next week.
Oh yeah. We should set up like
all the time.
We should set up a calendar thing of open for podcast.
Yes.
Not open for podcast.
And I'm not open. So
I'm generally not now.
Don't ask me. I'm usually not. No, but it's cool. There's a lot of people out there, and people who are famous for doing what they do, people who are starting something, people who have failed something, people like you name it. That's the people we want to talk to, and to think that like well over hundreds of people have had a chance to come on and talk about what they do is really cool. And we've heard comments here and there of people that are like, wow, I listened to this one it made me want to do this, or God, like, gosh, what would you say about this? And then now, like, it's great being like a guest of a show too, where we can talk about some of the experiences we had. And then for me, like in the speaking realm, like I get invited on shows sometimes just talk about like leadership development, and now people are like, oh, like, do you ever, like, where can we find you? I'm like, well, you can find me on a show called Hustling Side.
Yeah, exactly. I just thought about something too. If this is 110 and the number of like check-ins we've done, we've probably had nearly 100 different people that we've talked to as far as guests. Maybe like, I don't think it's necessarily been there with all the, however it works with all the check-ins and whatever. Yeah. So that's been a lot of people that have been at this house. That's been a lot of people. We've talked to people across the country. Across
the world, too.
We talked to somebody in Australia one time.
Yeah, Australia, Canada, and where else? Has there been another country? Or
Australia, Canada. We didn't lock in England. And I think we said in one, like, episode, like, 90 or something like that. We were like, oh, we got to do, like, an England episode.
What was the episode where, like, you and I both had a couple cocktails before we came in here?
I couldn't tell you. And that's because we had a couple cocktails before we came in.
Yeah, remember that check-in?
It was for sure. Oh, that was a check-in.
you at a bar, and then we came over here and did it.
That's right. Yeah, that was
one of check-ins. That was really funny.
Go back and listen to these check-in episodes.
They're really good, guys. So a lot of good stuff comes.
You can hear this podcast evolve. You can hear us. Also, I mean, it is kind of cool to have like a rolling diary of like where you've been within every half a year.
And it's a long time. I mean, we're really 5 years is a long time to be doing something.
Yeah,
and it's been fun. But I mean, there's so much more to do. Like we've talked about partnering with bars around here to do like a live show. Like there's just a lot of small things that frankly just need some time to develop, and that is what it is. But I think, like, especially as we get into what's about to be November and then Christmas, and then before we know it, we'll be at 2026. We'll be talking about our one word here soon, and starting that vibe up. And I think it gets, which is great because it gets super intentional, and then we start really developing what that is for the year, and it'll be a lot of fun.
This is our we operate on like the NBA season. Once what I mean, like October to April, we're really in there. We're really in there working on stuff. Summer gets crazy for me because I get. So this year, like, I had all the festival run, right? Like I normally do. Yeah. But then I had like a weird run for like 6 weeks or 8 weeks of like traveling a lot. Like,
oh yeah, sure.
Because Coldplay had a show in Madison that I went to cover. I went to Chicago to go see Oasis. I went to Chicago for Riot Fest, Chicago for Lollapalooza. Yeah. And like prior to Lollapalooza last year was the first, or this summer was like the first one. I realized I hadn't been in Chicago since the last Riot Fest. So it was only the reason I was there. And like hadn't been there in the better part of a year. And then all of a sudden I was like there 3 times in like 6 weeks. And that like ate up some weekends. So
might as
like
well just get a condo and call it a day.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I was very beneficial to stay on a couch for a couple times.
That's awesome.
But like that also, I mean, it did affect the flow of the podcast for us for a little bit too.
As it goes. But we've survived it all, like
I think we've only missed maybe like 2 or 3 weeks. Yeah. For like in 5 years.
That's pretty good. Yes, when life events happen, there have been times where like a Sunday night we'll text someone of like, can you come on the show, and
can you come do
I remember
this?
Kate Merrill had to do that like late on a Sunday. I was like, oh, can you
or there was one time for sure where we were like, oh god, we need a bonus for tomorrow. Yeah. Can you hop on Zoom today? Yeah, and just do it.
That's the joys of it when it truly is a side thing that you do when you have fun with it, But there's been a lot. We've explored like partnerships with like a college a couple years ago too. That was a lot of fun.
Man, sometime we can talk about all the things that almost happened for this podcast too along the way. We do have a really cool partnership with my job with On Milwaukee.
Tell us more about that.
That's new. Yes. So if you didn't know, I work for On Milwaukee as well. That's my main job before my side hustle, which has my main job changed 3 times? No, only twice.
Only twice. Yeah.
I've only had 2 main jobs since we started the podcast. Yeah. That would be wild if it was like my career.
Yeah, and we'll just follow Alan's career trajectory.
So we have a cool thing going now where like our podcasts drop on Monday on all the platforms, and then on Tuesdays they drop on Milwaukee the episodes with guests too, and that like has definitely helped us out.
Oh, for sure.
It's helped us.
It's great.
Bump our just visibility, but also that Jen Latta episode, like. We were just looking at numbers, real important podcast stuff, you guys.
Yeah, of course.
Jim never has to see the numbers. Jim never sees them.
I show up, I talk, and I leave. That's a general life rule I have.
Jim doesn't look at the numbers at all. He doesn't have to.
Not a numbers guy. Yeah.
But our numbers significantly went up after that Jen Latta episode, which now, like, I think the combination of that and being on Milwaukee, I'm like, oh.
It's great.
It feels a little bit more validating to be like,
more
not
people
saying
want
that
to hear.
It wasn't fine when there was like 6
We
people
were
listening.
in trouble. We were a sinking ship. We were not doing well. Alan was depressed, and it was just we were going to end it.
Jim didn't know the difference. Jim didn't know he was.
And I thought everything was fine. I'm not a numbers guy, like I said. Yeah.
Right. But like honestly, like we are stoked that.
Yeah.
I'm very excited that every weekend, every week somebody's listening to us.
Yeah.
We are an appointment listen for someone.
I know, and apologies for that if this is what your life has come to, but we're really glad you're here.
Well, nobody has to listen to our pod for like extra credit for school, as far as we know.
As far as we know, that could be. I mean, we may just not know.
The live shows, sometimes they got to show up for credit.
Yes,
which is fine.
That's true.
They come back with engaged questions.
Your
and they're good.
presence is what counts. I don't care what credit you're getting for it.
They don't have to listen to us without, like nobody has to. Please keep listening to the podcast.
Actually, all this said, like, we're great. So
we're good. Just keep listening. They don't have to listen to us. So we are very grateful for that. Excited on where this thing leads.
And there's plenty more coming, and I think we've found the commonality of people that have side passions that want to talk about it, whatever story that comes away from it, and there's always something to tell. And especially when we think that maybe other like people that are in a day job and have a side hustle that maybe doesn't match up, there's always something there that's going to match up. It's really cool to get that. But we both love exploring that. I think Alan and I, it's funny because we have pretty different backgrounds. We're into pretty different things. We know each other for nearly 2 decades, which is ridiculous. I'm going to throw up saying that out loud. But we share the commonality of being attracted to people that have a passion. Yeah. That's really always what it is. We want to hear more about that thing. So when we get into it, like that's really what it comes from. We don't, just going to be honest, we don't totally prepare for these shows. Like we know what the people do, but I'm not sitting there looking up their life. I want to have a genuine reaction when I ask questions of it. Right. I have an idea of where to go. Like I know where I want to finish it with, but I'm not going to pretend that we sit there and look up stuff all the time about.
Yeah, the research department is not very deep.
Not very deep. We're not paying them a whole lot, but that's out of intentionality. Like we want to know what a general understanding of where they're at, and then get questions that uncover the crux of what they do. Yeah. And let the good times roll from there.
And I think one thing too that's really good about this podcast that we really don't talk about enough. Again, we don't toot our own horn about it. Sometimes it's like you and I can naturally talk for 45 minutes with somebody. Yeah. And there is no, like, what you see on these podcasts a lot of times on the video, it's not a lot of, like, cut and paste, right? Yeah. Like, I've definitely done other podcasts before where they've been like, let's go back and redo this real quick, and we're going to piece this in. We're going to attach this in. Yeah. We don't do that. No. What you get is the actual conversation with us. Is that lazy editing by me? Maybe.
It could be. but it's a good point.
But we are I don't want to say like good enough, but we are engaging enough that we don't have like that lull. Right. Like it is very rare with us in an interview with somebody where we stop and there's that awkward pause and we don't know what to say.
And next. It's been that way since day one.
Yeah.
And we never really talked about that, but it was kind of like someone just picks up from where the other one left off.
Right. And we totally, like, after we do a live show, like, we'll text each other if it's like, that was a good one.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, that is the best feeling, is going back to the car and getting home and being like, I felt good about that one on the drive home. Yeah. Or, there have been ones where we've been like, oh, man, we got through it.
That was a weird one, yeah.
There's like one. Yeah. You probably can find it. Yeah. But there was one that we were just like, oh, we did it. Yeah. But for the most part, I think we have definitely gotten done with episodes and then texted each other and been like...
Totally. I mean, I remember like one of our first few, we had someone that came here that was starting to talk and would give one-word answers. And we were like, so tell us more about that thing. You know?
That was before the video days. That was also, we were brand new at interviewing people.
Of course. But I remember that being like, this show is not going to survive. Right. It was like, we were like, so where are you from? And this person was like,
a place.
Like this place.
Idaho.
We're like,
I don't know.
Tell us more about that place. And it was like, really, I mean, it took 10 minutes to get comfortable. And like, okay, here we are. But, that's also 2 creepy guys that are talking to someone random.
Yeah, I would say now I think we feel a little bit more legit of a thing. You can look up previous that probably is part of it too. Is like now I'm sure people come on and they look up previous episodes. I don't really do that when I'm a guest on a podcast. I don't know about you. I go
every now and then I do if I need to know what they're talking about. But otherwise I'm good.
I've been bad at not even preparing for that part too, and just been like, yes.
You know what's funny though? I did have this happen to me this year where I was like, oh my gosh, my friend Brian would be amazing for the show, and I text him. Turns out he was a guest on like episode 42, and I had no idea. I was at no recollection. He was like, oh yeah, I've been on your show before. Like, oh shit. So that's when after a couple, a lot of people for 5 years, you lose class. But I remember being like, why haven't I asked him before? Like, this is insane. I need to text him now. And we shared a laugh.
I think we've only had one return guest.
Yes, and Andy Hackbarth.
And that was because of the evolution of that project.
That's right,
too.
what he was doing. And we will get another one. Nick Elam will be back on the show.
Yes.
Hopefully this fall, when he's working on some stuff now. So if you know the Elam ending for basketball, he was one of our first 5 guests we had.
He was pre-video.
Awesome, yes. So he'll be on. We had an email exchange with him recently, and he's working on some new stuff, so we're excited. I think he's going to start his own show here pretty soon.
I think so. I had a meeting with him about it.
How did that go?
It went well.
Sweet.
We decided what the minute number was going to be that we ended at, and then we set an Elam ending. We were like, by 48, we're going to be done.
That is classic. Well, we have a lot of stuff going on, folks. We're excited that you're here still for the journey, and we're looking forward to a whole lot more. And Alan and I don't have like a final number in sight. We're just going to keep going until we can.
Until the wheels fall off on this thing.
More to come. A lot more fun to have. If you ever want to be a guest, or if you have any questions about for us, send us a note whenever you want to, and we're just excited to share people's journeys with you all and have fun while we're doing it.
Yeah, you can do that at hustlingsideways@gmail.com. Thank you for the ride so far. 110 in, and however many more to go until these cameras die out. But then we'll probably just find a new camera.
It looks like they're all blinking now.
No, we're good. We're good. In the meantime, we're the Hustling Sideways podcast. You can get this podcast. Well, you've done it for 110 episodes plus, wherever you get your podcast.
Yeah.
I don't know how many videos we have on YouTube now. We've got a ton. Many. So if you have not checked out the YouTube, go ahead and do that. You can smash that subscribe button or whatever they say. I don't remember. They say is that? I don't watch a lot of YouTubers.
They're good though.
We should find a YouTuber.
Yeah, come on.
That would be a cool.
We'd love that. Oh, that's the next one.
We're gonna start brainstorming about the next 110 episodes.
Let's keep it going for like an hour. Let's brainstorm.
Just go live, do all the things. TikTok, Instagram, LinkedIn. TikTok was almost not a thing while we were for a minute in these last 10 episodes.
That's right. And now it's back.
Still a thing we're on. Twitter, Facebook, all of the places. So wherever you get your podcast, thank you so much for listening. Thank you so much for subscribing. We're going to keep this thing going. And Jim,
keep on hustling.
We'll see you next week.
Peace.